Hello, everybody. Welcome back to True Dope Life. As y'all know, we are no longer called Boxing with TT, and this is all because we'll get to that later on, alright? So before we start this video, I want to say thank you so much to the new subscribers, to the old subscribers. Keep rocking with me. I am loving what y'all giving me with the video, and as y'all know, I try to keep it spicy for everybody. I try to dib dab with a little bit of everything. But tonight, as y'all see, honey, we ain't doing no reaction video. We ain't talking about no hair color. We ain't talking about no autism. We ain't talking about none of that. We gonna talk about this good old box. Okay, because that's just what we do. And wrestling is coming pretty soon too. I'm not sure exactly when, but y'all guys will definitely know when. Anytime that you see this right here, what you see in the beginning, you already know what's up, okay? So tonight we're going to get into Mr. Larry Gaines, aka Mr. Lawrence Samuel Gaines. Mr. Lawrence Samuel Gaines was born December the 12th in 1901. He lives with his mom and his dad and his older sister. His granddad is actually from VA, but they moved to Canada to escape slavery, all right? Larry is a fan of Jack Johnson, and he lives in Cambridge, Canada, Toronto. And they live in a deprived area. It ain't really, a life to probably, raise your children at, but it is what it is, right? So Mr. Gaines has an uncle named Walter. Mr. Walter is also a heavyweight champion in Canada as well. So now Lawrence decides that he wants to spar, and he begins sparring with a guy named Charlie Clay, okay? And so as he is sparring, they're like, he not really that good, but he has the potential, because it's stated that as he kept on going on and on and on, he kept on getting better, okay? So at this age, Mr. Gaines is 20 years old, and he decides that he wants to join a black organization called Toronto Japaris Club. And at this moment, he is standing at 6 feet 1.5, and he can shift his weight between 170 to 207. And y'all know how I feel about boxers that do that. I think that that is super dope, because they can pretty much go wherever they want to go if they can shift their weight, and plus they're young on top of that. It is stated that he was one of the top fighters from 1920 to 1930. And before we keep on going within this video, I want to say right here, right now, baby girl, don't know what's true, what's false. I'm just giving y'all what I was seeing on. Okay? So, we're going to get back into this video. And he then wins the trophy of HABC in 1922 in March, okay? And this is right before he turned pro. And he turns pro at 1923, and then he decides to leave boxing in England because there's no one else for him to mess with, okay? He then goes to Britain, and then he makes his debut known as the Toronto Terror in 1926. He then goes and travels around the rest of Europe, and then he goes to North America. And in 1927, in February the 28th, he becomes the champion in Canada, and he holds that bad boy until 1934, okay? And then in 1927, he wins the color belt for the first time. At 1929, he returns to Europe. And when he returns to Europe, he settles into Le Champion in 1930, and in 1931 he also then has a run again at the British Championship. This run is not just a one-time deal for him. He has this British champion 6 times, okay? So now let's get into his boxing bouts, okay? So he starts off with 117 wins. 117 wins. He has 63 KOs, 22 losses, 5 draws, and 145 in total bouts. At 1923 to 1942 was his career, and at 1923, June 23rd, was his debut. And he is then trained by Jack Phillip, and his last boxing bout was in June 26, 1942. And then he does lose that in a KO to Jack Linden. And so now his debut match was June 23rd, 1923, which he loses to Frank Moody. August 11th, 1923, he wins to Pierre Estamish. August 15th, 1923, there's a win, and he wins against Paul Journey. August 25th, 1923, there is a win against Lawrence Murray. August 12th, 1923, he wins against Dixie Kid. November 8th, 1926, he loses to a TKO to our champ at the time, George Godfrey. And y'all know how I feel about my boy, George Godfrey, okay? March 2nd, 1928, he is a winner again against Big Boy Peterson. I would love to know how big Mr. Peterson was, okay? I'm just saying, okay? In February the 12th, 1941, he wins against George James. January 25th, 1941, he loses by TKO to Jack Linden. Okay, so that's his boxing bouts. Now let's continue on with his legacy. All right, so he is also the second black person to fight at the Royal Albert Hall in the UK. Okay, and of course he is never given an opportunity to get the heavyweight strap, but it's cool because Britain and London Britain and Canada had love for him. Okay. Okay, and then y'all know how sick he was with it because, honey, they gave him, he had his 6 dang one times while he was out there. So, Mr. Gaines, man, bump all of that. You did what you had to do. You held it down, you put it down. Okay? Okay. So, he actually was kicking the doors down because he would make so much. He would have so many people come in because they knew that they was going to see a show, okay? So he was able to kick the doors down, okay? He kicked them down and he drew in a lot of crowd. And they also said that he had a quick left strong hook, and he was quick on his feet. And they also stated that anybody that he fought, any other that he fought, actually will climb the charts. So even though they lost to him, they would get the opportunity for the strap, which sucks a lot, right? Right. We already know how they was giving it up back then. It just is what it is, right? So in 1933, he still went on and he still received a color belt again. So in 1934, something kind of crazy takes place. He is in German and he is in the bar and he is chilling with his homie, and everybody is calling out Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. He does not know who Hitler is. A group of guys come up to him and they start talking cash to him, and he's just like, I just don't, I don't know who this is. And y'all keep on saying Hitler, so I don't know what the heck is going on around here. Why these people don't pull the strap out on Mr. Gaines and pointed it right here? Yeah, they was going off him right there and in the bar because he didn't know who Hitler is. But you have to remember, and I'm pretty sure everybody on this channel should know how powerful that man used to be and how powerful that man was, right? So you don't know who he is. What you mean you don't know who he is? You want to find out who he is today. Pretty much. By the grace of God, someone that either felt bad or had God in his heart or knew who Mr. Gaines was, whatever the case may be, he stops this person, the gangster, from doing what he was going to do, okay? And Mr. Gaines said, I'm never going back there ever again. Now, mind you, he met his wife there in 1926, if I'm not mistaken, while he was touring. So he probably was there visiting his in-laws, but honey, them in-laws wasn't going to see Mr. Gaines any dang going more, okay? They probably could see Lisa, but they wasn't going to see Mr. Gaines, okay? So in 1939, he joins the British Army as a trainer physical instructor and as a sergeant major in Pioneer Corps, Middle East. After war, this is when he retired. He retired right after the war. And he moves to a place called Salisbury-Sydney's exes in London, and he retires at the age of 40. And it is also stated that he did win up to $500,000 during his lifetime span in boxing, but he spent it in gambling or whatever. And it's given to me, being that he's never really been in trouble, well, he didn't get in trouble, it's given to me that he was just trying to make another way to keep his money up, because as y'all can tell, you didn't hear me say that he had any, any business investments or anything like that. So I think he was just looking for a way to earn some extra money. He probably had good nights, he probably had bad nights. My dad was a gambler, so I know how it go on. We'll get into that another time, okay? So, and then once again, he's no longer boxing, so the money was running real dry. But it's cool because Mr. Gaines decided to work as a labor worker, okay? And at 1950, and I'm thinking 1960, he is a merch collector, he's a car salesman, and he also is a boxer, a trainer for upcoming boxer. He also does his autobiography called The Impossible Dream in 1976. And in 1953, this fool gone, I'm going to call you a fool this one time, Mr. Gaines. This one time. This fool goes to get himself locked up for 3 months because he decided to steal 222 Euro dollars. Okay? But by the grace of God, once again, he pretty much tells the judge that he'll get, he'll make it do what it do. So they let him back on out. Okay? So then he becomes a singer and a drum player in a hotel band. And then unfortunately he dies July 1983 from a heart attack while visiting his in-laws, is stated. And that was when he did come back to Germany, because once again he didn't go to Germany until then. He is recognized for once again winning the World Color Heavyweight Championship title belt twice. He also is recognized for winning the British belt 6 times as well. He is inducted into the Hall of Fame of Britain. I don't know if it was Britain or Canada. Into Britain and Canada in 1974. So yeah, and he also. But remember I told you, okay, so in March 1922, he went on and he won this belt. And this belt was reintroduced 1921, okay? And then he also was mentioned in 2020 for being the world. I also forgot to mention that he did have 4 children with Miss Lisa. They did have a long-lasting, trailblazing interracial relationship. I guess he didn't get into no trouble. I guess they didn't mind it. I mean, he didn't get, like I said, he didn't get into any trouble, so I guess they didn't mind it. But he went on to have Miss Betty, Mr. Harold, Mrs. Annie, and Jack as well. And now I'm going to give y'all my opinions. I think that he did freaking excellent. First of all, he had it in his DNA. You got the uncle, and then he turns around and he follows his uncle's footsteps, and he does exactly what the uncle does. The uncle became heavyweight champion in Canada, and he took that ball and he ran with it as well. And then y'all already know how Jack was coming with John, slack. Okay, so I think that he took the ball and he ran with it, and I think he did a banging job. I do wish that he would have had the freaking opportunity to get the world heavyweight championship in general. And basically that is what the Impossible Dream autobiography about. It is basically him stating how no matter what he did, they wasn't feeling it. But once again, British was feeling it. You feel me? Canada was feeling it as well. So, he took a L on, I don't think he even took an L. I think the United States took an L. I ain't even gonna hold you. I think the United States dropped the ball on that. They could have shook some things up. And speaking about shaking some things up, we about to shake some stuff up right here, because we are now in the 1920, the roaring 1920s, pushing the 1930s, and after we do the 1930s, I got some stuff for y'all. Okay. So don't y'all go nowhere. Turn your notifications on, because you never know who your girl might be covering next. I will see y'all when I see y'all. Welcome to True Dope Life. Peace out.